Alright, you guys, today we're going to be talking about standing game in general, and I wanted to go over a few little basics here just as far as what are the mechanics of the standing position and all that. And, it varies depending on which style that you go into. So if you're looking at more of a judo where you're using a lot of like upper body leverage to throw it, you might actually see this a bit in Greco-Roman wrestling as well, because they can't attack the legs. That they're going to be coming in and they're going to be staying relatively in a high upright position. Whereas if you get into the more folk style, freestyle styles of wrestling, you're going to be back kind of here a little bit, right? And part of that is because they don't want to get sprawled on. And so they're still looking up, they're having their ass out a little bit, and they're going to be playing in this kind of region. Whereas with jiu-jitsu, a lot of times, like, we will play any number of those, but a lot of times the more advanced players will actually be like here, right? They're going to be really, really low for that kind of starting position, and that's for fairly good reason, is that we have to kind of defend about pretty much most anything, right? So we kind of borrow from all the different disciplines that are out there. When we're starting, just like with any type of ground control position, we still have the concepts of connection, being rooted into the ground, and pressure, right? And all those things are going to play in, just in a completely different way. It's like sort of like if both me and my opponent are playing knee right at the same time, if that makes any sense. So we're both hypermobile here, we can both move around a lot, and we kind of are in this 50-50 where we both have, we're both rooted in the ground, we both need to be unrooted in order to do a takedown in some way or another, right? And we have an equal amount of ability to defend or attack. And even when you get really, really good grips in the top game, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to get the takedown, partially because they have so much freedom of movement in this range of motion, but also because it's a lot of times fairly easy to get out of those circumstances and get yourself into the circumstances that you want. And so basically, one of the first things that you're going to be paying attention to, besides your defensive stance, right? And you're going to change your stance depending on what discipline that you're working with, right? You can't get a big hip throw or something like that from down here like you would do in judo or Greco-Roman, right? You're not going to be able to pick somebody up from down there particularly well. You might be able to shoot in and kind of set that up and then go for like, not even a double under, but like a bear hug kind of throw, right? Suplex or something along those lines. So you might be able to get that from down here, but even that's going to be difficult because their ass is going to be way out the other end too, right? So it's going to be hard to actually get in there and get that, other than in styles where, they don't have to worry about you shooting for the legs, so they're not going to have to defend that. So when I come in, I'm looking for, the first types of connections that I want to have, and I don't want to give my opponent the connections that they want to have. So, you'll see this a lot of times as people are reaching out and they're trying to grab what they can grab onto. If you're wearing a gi, a lot of times it's going to be that near side lapel. It's going to be very rare for you to grab the far side lapel. But that being said, lapel grips are something that people tend to rate on a scale on how nervous am I about this grip, right? If somebody's really tall here and I get that cross lapel grip, right? So my right hand going to their right collar, if I'm grabbing inside there and we're really tall here, they're probably not that concerned. If I get that grip and we're way down here, I can snap down and I can start going for looping chokes there, right? So there is, where we are is going to depend on, okay, how am I going to react to this, right? So a lot of times, if I'm up tall and there's no risk for that, you could come in and grab that cross lapel because they will break it. They'll break that grip. They're gonna respond to your first grip and probably not pay much attention to your second grip as much as they did the first. So what will happen is they'll break this grip and then you just re-grip onto the other collar, which is the one that you wanted, right? So a lot of times, like, that kind of grip is going to be like if I'm going to be pulling guard, if I want to kind of ragdoll him around, stuff like that. So I'm looking for whatever grip is generally going to be the most advantageous for what I'm trying to do. Whether it's a wrist grip, a sleeve grip, a lapel grip of some kind, a head hook, whatever. But, one thing that we are usually looking for when we are doing like an inside grip, right, is just like what I did in the striking video, right? Is that we're coming in and we're grabbing the back of the head, we're keeping our elbow to the inside of their arm, and we're grabbing the tricep here, right? And the reason why we're doing that is because I've got more leverage to start to move him around, okay? And so when I get that grip, right, I can now steer him quite a bit, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next video, but we can get into this position and we can start moving around. Now what's going to happen when you get that kind of grip is that they're going to try to pummel in and get their version of that grip, right? Which is going to break yours. So a lot of times this early start here is trying to get those grips and pummeling in a lot, right? Maybe that's something that you want, guys. If you wanted to start to work around to the back, or you have another takedown that you kind of prefer, you know, you might use that pummeling in to kind of get off to the side so that you can start working on other takedowns that may not require that grip. And we will talk about some of those here in a bit. But, so a lot of this is really just grip fighting here, right? And it's okay if, you know, if you end up in the situation where you've got double unders, you do have to worry about like Ezekiel chokes or something like that if you're doing a submission style, but you know, they're probably going to defend the double unders first. So if you get those double unders, you know, you can start working towards hip throw positions. There's a sweep that I'll show you in a little bit that's going to use that potentially. There are like arm drags which will help you get to the back and take down from there. And then we'll go over our single legs. So let's go ahead and go into the first drill here. I'll be right back.